Natasha Phipps, Phipps Real Estate, WealthShare. We're talking what's going on in the real estate world today. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, so Natasha, we've got, I'm excited because we've got a live event coming up this week, as a matter of fact, Thursday, which would make it about what, the 10th?
The 10th, yep.
Of October. It's at the Petroleum Club in Calgary. What time are we kicking off?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. Okay, I'll be there. Todd Hirsch will be there. You'll be there. There'll be a lot of people there in terms of just showing up as guests as well as supporters, trusted partners that you guys have as well. And so what are we going to be talking about? Todd Hirsch is there. I mean, economist extraordinaire, was with ATB, the Alberta Treasury Branch, for many years, and that's what he was known for. But have you got a handle on what Todd's going to talk about? Because you never know with Todd, for sure.
Exactly. We kind of had to choose, okay, did we want to choose our focus to be on Alberta or more of a global talk? And we are going to focus on Alberta. I mean, we're here in Alberta. This is where boots are on the ground. I really wanted this to be an Alberta focused event. And I mean, there's a lot you can debate in the world right now. And I think it's good to talk about it. But we're going to take that economic approach. I think that's what we need to be talking about. We need to go, what is actually going on? What are the fundamentals? And what do we as investors, as business owners need to know in this province right now?
Well, you and I have worked together and known each other for many, many years. We are, certainly bullish on Alberta and have been for a long, long time. We see what's unfolding. You are definitely boots on the ground every day, looking at what's happening in the real estate world. You and your team launched, what was it, a couple of years ago now, WealthShare, which is your private REIT. And we'll be talking about that. But more importantly, at this particular event, we're going to be talking about real estate and what's going on in the Alberta market. I'll be dialing in what's happening right now, even between what's going on in Calgary versus Edmonton, by the way. I'll do a market update of what we are seeing Alberta versus the global macro and even what's happening a little bit in Ontario. I think it's important to touch on that because it all has relevance when we're talking about real estate. Now, there's a fundamental phrase that, we share and aligned on, over the years, which is that there is no bad economies to invest in real estate. There's just strategies that aren't appropriate given what's happening economically. And that's some of the things that we're going to be talking about. I'm not going to give it all away today here, but you need to get your butt in the seat at the event at the Petroleum Club in Calgary on October 10th. Now, having said all that, when we look at what's happening economically, there's a fundamental that is showing up more and more and more. As we look at bond yields increasing, we may see a tick up in fixed mortgage rates even in the next couple of weeks. I don't know if you have a view of that. Before I go on, do you have a view of that, Natasha? What are you hearing about and what are you seeing in your world? That's my analysis of it. But
I'm kind of hearing both 50-50. It feels very much like a shot in the dark right now. But then there's a lot of people, like general consumers, that are like, okay, I'm waiting for rates to go down. I'm waiting for rates to go down. They feel like rates are coming down. But then some people, definitely more tied to the industry, are kind of going, well, I don't know. There's some indicators here that are muddying those waters for us. So it's an interesting time in that the rates are really driving confidence. Like, am I getting something or not?
Well, I'm going to give you, here's where some of the confusion gets in. So the Bank of Canada sets a rate, which is their lending rate, overnight lending rate, which affects the variable rate mortgages. And so everybody, waits, what's the Bank of Canada going to do? What's the Bank of Canada do? And that's fine. But what people and many don't understand is what drives the fixed rate market are bond yields. So Canada 5-year bond has literally ticked up. I think the last time I looked, it was either earlier today or yesterday, I don't remember now, but it ticked up 40 basis points. So that's a huge shift in bond yields. Now, what's driving that, of course, is the uncertainty, the fact that you look at what's happening with the potential global war and the talk about wars, the talk about, all of the, I get just a lot of bad news in the overarching market. And so people are, looking at that and it kind of shows up as negative, which is interesting because literally 10 days ago, bond yields were dropping. Now, the whole thing about dropping bond yields is that's usually an indication that there's a lot of uncertainty and people are looking at maybe recessionary times. This is ticking up, which is the opposite, which is that we're still going to hit economic headwinds, but the flavor has changed and there's lots of flight to safety. So my point around all of this is that when we look at what's going to ultimately come out, we'll see some more quantitative easing, more money printing, and that'll be both US and Canada, I believe. My opinion, by the way, all to say this: we need to get our capital, whatever capital that we have, that we can tie up for an extended period of time and get it into hard assets. For us, there's lots of ways to do it, but right now for us, hard assets means real estate, because that's where we see the growth, and we have lots of, I guess you would say, economic fundamentals to support that thesis and to support that argument. Anything you want to add to that, given what you're doing with WealthShare?
Yeah, I think, well, a couple things. I mean, the bond market for the last couple of years has been a pain point for many commercial real estate investors that are using the CMHC insured programs, because that is our interest rates. And we just did a refinance close last week. And the week before, the rate was almost 1% difference than the week we closed. So, and not at a good direction for us. But to your point, that does point to strengthening as well. So it has been a roller coaster for sure on that side of things. You know, the conversation around protection of capital, the high rates of inflation, people are worried their money is just going to like disappear, is a very real conversation. And hard assets are something you can see, feel, touch, and understand. And also, most people do have a care around the lack of housing in this country, and kind of would like to put their money to work in something they feel strongly about. Most people in our networks do feel strongly about housing. So whether it's a passive investment like WealthShare or other REITs out there, or actually tangibly owning your own real estate, having that long-term outlook and approach is always going to win in the long run. But the fear comes when you're thinking really short-term.
So, you know, listen, folks, if you're watching this, what we're going to be talking about is, and we're going to, you know, show you, and we're going to connect the dots for you as to why real estate still remains a great store of value to place your capital. The good news around all of this is that as many adopt the strategy of, let's say, buy and hold or fix and flip, there's lots of different strategies to use. But when you look at what's happening with mortgage rates and the uncertainty of what's happening with those mortgage rates, affordability, there's lots of arguments within the real estate world that's saying, I can't get in, I can't get in. So many are sitting on the sidelines. Thursday night, we're going to be talking about how you can get into the real estate market. Given what's happening in the world, it does make sense, and it is a good path to follow. So if you show up and join us, we'll have these conversations. We're going to break down what's happening economically. Todd Hirsch is going to do what Todd always does, which give you a great picture of what's happening global, plus as well as what's happening in the province. I will break down and connect a bunch of the dots for you in terms of if you want to get your capital to work. And I can't stress enough, we are talking about real estate. Some of you may be looking at cryptocurrencies. You may be looking at precious metals. Of course, there's the equity market. There's all of those things. But there is a way to get into this real estate market, which is going to continue to grow given what we have in terms of immigration, the lack of supply, all of the things that come together to make real estate make sense. We're going to be putting that all together Thursday night. So you can come out, have a conversation, get to meet Natasha's team. I'll be there. Todd will be there. There'll be lots of people there to have these conversations with. And then you can start to make some decisions based on data, not on emotion, because a lot of decisions are being made and have been made on emotion, and a lot of people are paying the price for that. Let's not go there. So let's get into the data. Let's have some conversation. Natasha, anything you want to add to this? By the way, the link and everything is in the description below to register. I think there's a $19 charge or something. What is the charge?
It's $30 now, I believe.
$30? Okay, I don't remember the charge. So anyways, it's $30. You're going to get a ton of value out of showing up, being there. We want to see you there. Natasha, I'll leave final words to you.
Yeah, the only other thing to mention is the point of this is to really tie the economics to the opportunity. So Phipps Real Estate Group, we're going to actually highlight strategies we think people should be considering right now, right this minute. And it was very different than it was a year ago. So we're going to talk about active strategies you can get involved with right away, passive strategies, of course, with WealthShare, and tie it all together with the economics and the strategy. So I think there's going to be a lot of good takeaways, and I'm really excited about the lineup of speakers that we have, and we have some excellent sponsors there as well. So it's going to be an awesome event.
Yeah, the key here, folks, is to connect all the dots so that you're making a data-driven decision of what you want to do to move forward. Very, very important right now, given what's happening in the world, to get your capital to work. Real estate's the place to do it. We'll show you how, we'll show you why. You can create your own thesis, make decisions based on that. Natasha, thanks for doing this. And folks, we hope to see you there Thursday night. We will be there, excited to connect all the dots for you. Natasha, thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me.